Lucille Anderson is one of the most modest people that I know. And Gordon, I've tried to figure out how old she is. She has to be at least 150. Because to do all the things that she's done, she's had to live at least that long, hasn't she, Gordon?
Not suspicious. No, the fastest she moved was...
But anyway, Lucille, really to know her is to love her. She's president of our White River Valley Historical Society and this year. And when she came to Ozarks, she retired for the second time, I believe, in 1954. And moved back to Ozark. And when she moved back to Ozark in 1954, Lucille, I think I'm telling this right, they had their library in the stable, in the old livery stable. And ours today is accredited, as I understand, Ozark Library. Ours is accredited to what theirs was 20 years ago. Now, if you haven't seen the library, the Christian County Library, if you haven't seen it, then you stop and you see it, because to see this library really makes you think, well, we can and we must do something. Of course, the place that I like to spend my time when I go is in the, you call it just the Ozark room, the local history room. And when you see the material that is available and that Lucille, and I say Lucille, not just the library, because Lucille has gathered the material. And when you see it, it really will be an inspiration. And I'm just real thrilled to have her down tonight. And she has a story or two that if she doesn't tell, but I'll sit down now and give her the floor. But I reserve the right to prompt her because she has a story or two that if she doesn't tell, I'm not going to let her forget it.
I understand that repeating your stories is a definite sign of fidelity.
But they haven't heard it.
Did you put that up there for?
Well, you can't see over it probably, can you?
I don't know. I might. I have a few things. This needn't scare you to death. I'm not going to do this much talking. But I do have a few things that I want to see and let you know how we think of our local history. You might see if I can see over that. I'm not very tall. Yeah, that'd be all right. Well, she introduced me as a speaker, and that's a misnomer because I'm a defunct librarian at the moment. I'm not a speaker. And as I said, this shouldn't scare you to death because I'm not going to do this much talking, but I brought a few things. I brought some of the things we used as public relations and publicity in our effort to get one. I thought might help some of you on this. Now, I really didn't have a very clear notion of what I was to talk about because Sneed said something about the library, but also she said something about the Historical Society. And we were on long distance several times, and I didn't really find out. I told Gordon and the day I didn't know what I was going to talk about, whether it was the Historical Society or the library you're trying to get. But I decided it didn't really matter because the two subjects do merge. They do in my mind. That isn't true with all librarians. The county, Christian Stone County librarian, told me in so many words that she did not consider libraries a museum, and she didn't think that libraries should harbor all this old stuff, that they should get rid of it and have current and modern stuff. Well, that isn't my notion, actually, that I'm pretty old-fashioned. I was on a program 2 or 3 years ago with Harry Reid, and we talked about this. And I said I thought it was awfully important for libraries to gather and preserve historical material. And he said he did too, and he used the term I remember. He said he thought that the libraries should consider themselves the memory of the community. And if writers couldn't go to the library to pick up material on lifestyles and customs and all at the library, I don't know where they would go because the people just getting older all the time. And I guess all of this stuff is just as important historically to preserve it and keep for another time. But for the time that I was young, there are very few of my contemporaries still living. I know at one time we went into the office of editor of the newspaper. I was on, my husband was the editor of the paper, and the owner of it came in, and he looked so sad, and my husband said, is something wrong? He said, yes, something's wrong with you children. Wouldn't understand it. We were in the 30s then, I suppose. Then when the time comes that more of your friends, more of the people you know are dead than alive, then something bad matters. Well, that's the way it is with me now. My contemporaries are gone. So I don't know how I document the things I remember. Gordon's off yesterday, and I thought of more things I'd like to tell him, but I thought, well, I'm pretty hazy about them, you know. One of my pet stories, you said I'd tell the same things over and over. But one old man said to the other, there are 3 definite signs of approaching senility. He said, you watch for them, and likely you can ward it off. And I said, first of all, you'll have difficulty remembering familiar names and places, people. Second glance. That's right. He just waited and waited. And finally said, well, and then what? He said, I can't remember the other 2. Well, that's kind of my fix. I think about these things that ought to be down, but I'm not sure enough about dates and people and places. But we came up, Ms. Brown is right when she said, I have a recurring urge to retire. I've been doing it now for 60 years. So that when I came back to Springfield, I really did think I was at least in semi-retirement. And then I came down, at the time I was advertising manager first, and the women from Christian County came up, a whole group of them. And they said that they thought I ought to come back to my hometown and help them start a county library. Well, the more I thought about it, the more I wanted to do it because I was born there, and my parents had been so interested in library service in my childhood. So I decided that I would do that. They had gone out, some of the women in Christian County, and they'd gone to schools. Now, it sounds like old home week to me here. They'd gone to schools and churches and clubs and civic organizations with petitions to get a tax to join in with the Stone County Library, where the state library had established a demonstration bookmobile service. And the Christian County had come up with a $1 tax, they could join in. So that's what they had done. They had already got this and were having a bookmobile service. The headquarters were in Galena, and Ozarks, or Christian County, had only bookmobile service. So this was in 1900, and well, they'd started it in 1948, and after 5 years, Christian County had only bookmobile service. So in 54, I decided to come on down, and because in the meantime, they had gathered some money that had come in from taxes, and since they weren't having a library there, they had accumulated. And they'd used that money a little illegally, I think mildly illegally maybe, and bought this little liquor store, and they would fix it up. So I went down and we did. Now, I'm pretty good at getting donations, although I stress the point that Hill people have a fierce pride that doesn't let them accept charity. But I don't think you can call it that when it's something for the good of everybody. So we had a young man, a very noted architect, Don Russell. He's built some very unusual houses in this area and had a lot of publicity in magazines. And so he agreed, he was a native foreigner, he agreed to draw the plans for modernizing this old estate. He donated them. And the people of Ozarks, with no prodding from any of us, went out and gathered enough money to buy the furniture for it. Good furniture. Shelving, party catalogs, which were very expensive. About that time, the city government had decided to lease the big community building that was built as a WPA adventure, and they decided to lease that to a garment factory for $1 a year. And that left them with quite a lot of odds and ends inside. So they gave the library, everything was there. There were about 250 folding metal chairs. There was a good piano and a fine public address system. Some furniture, big tables. So they gave saw that. We had other gifts. You mentioned books. We had a lot of books given. But you must be very careful in accepting gifts of books that you specify that you will use them if they're suitable for the library or if you don't have too many copies. But with the understanding, agreement that you can sell what you need and use the money for other things. Now, there are people who get their feelings hurt bad if you sell their books. So don't accept any without that specification. You'll be sorry if you do, I think. Well, we had just hundreds of books given, a lot of them very fine, particularly that's supposed to be the classics, things that were old. So, we started in with that. And we had bookmobile service, as I mentioned. I really would like to mention some of the other gifts, but the thing was that we wanted more services than just some books to check in and out. We realized that library service involves a lot more than that, and yet we were so poor that we couldn't buy much. We did little things that we attracted a lot of attention. For example, my daughter's a big jigsaw puzzle buff, and she had some very expensive jigsaw puzzles. She had drawn and had them centered. And I said, what are you going to do with those? You've used them. And she said, well, I must give them to my friends. And I said, well, give them to the library. So she did. She gave me 12, 15 of them very fine. I cataloged them, put a number on it, put them out. And everyone checked out the first day I put them out. And everybody who returned one brought back several more of her own. So that within 3 or 4 months, we had 450 at least good jigsaw puzzles. Now, there's no catalog that says you should have jigsaw puzzles in your library. But if you didn't know how people enjoyed stress, and when we didn't have a lot of other things, this was brought up at a state meeting. They talked there about Mrs. A's cookie corner services, because I have a lot of things that Orthodox libraries don't have, that's true. And the jigsaws were one of them. But they were used as, they didn't cost us anything, and people were really pleased to have them. Well, we asked people if they made slides. Everybody made photographs, and we asked them if they made any slide or local entry to make a nice one and give it to the library. And we got just loads of fine. Then you look at it and you see. One of my pet projects was to try to make up some programs on those to take to the retirement homes or old people's homes. I have to look out how I use them stern. Because I'm doing things to give away. I'm a lot older than they are. But you know, there are people in these homes and they're sick or they're not well. And how they brighten up if you show them some pictures of at our town, Jones Spring, small gate. So that is the thing. Ask people to make slides of any of those things. Get them to that. And you can make them up into a good program. And space it out for the time you want to give. We had one man who was very much interested. I expect you all know the Native Woods place in Spring in Ozarks. This Mr. Crane, who was head of that, was so interested in the library and particularly in the audio-visual department. And he was always doing something for that section. So he died there. And his family and other and many friends gave money. And with the permission of his family, we bought very fine slide projector. We had two we used to check out, but this was something very unusual with automatic changing and all. Then we put a lot of stress on memorial gifts. I never went to a club to talk that I didn't say that long after the flowers have withered and dried up and blown away, these gifts will be these books. I put out a book the other day. My druggist and his wife, Francis and Little Werner, maybe some of you know, were killed when they were in the accident. And all of their friends were people I knew well, and I stressed this bit. It was unbelievable money that came in to buy memorial gifts. Just a day or two ago, I pulled out a copy of Major Religions of the World, a very handsome book that Life put out about 20 years ago. It's out of print now, you can't buy it for any price. But that had been used and used. Students learning about comparative religion. We used it over and over. There it said, in memory of Mr. and Miss Francis. And I thought then, well, how much better that is than a bunch of flowers that had withered and faded so long ago. So we paid a lot of time then to the memorial, that is, to stressing it. Also, the 4-H boys. The children come to the library, and I've got talked to them about things to remember. And the 4-H boys, a big group of them, went out and gathered rocks within a half mile of the library. They mounted them, identified them, put the names of the boy who had given it, put them up in glass cases, very handsome. I suppose their leaders had done that for them, and they brought those to the library. It makes a handsome gift. And people, not only children who stop, but adults who stop. Then I read in a paper that a man named Davis had won first prize in Denver. It was a Denver paper, I don't know how it had come by it, but it said this man had won first prize in the craft show out in Denver with some carvings of birds, that he was an authority on birds. So, well, I remember that a girl from our town had married a man of that name, and that they'd gone to Denver. So I cut over her family and asked her address and wrote her. And she said, yes, that was her husband. And I said, it would be nice if you and your husband could put a display of these birds in the library. So they came back recently, they'd come back to live. I think the library's partly brought them back. But he brought me in 75 of those birds. Every bird that I've ever heard of. And he'd say they're very authentic, they're colored, the identifications on them. But it's sort of nice gift that name. I have a glass showcase built, and they're displayed in there with some of the fine bird books we have. One of those things that come to us without much cost, but they have had it built home to our library. Now I'm getting around to the business. We still haven't got a library. We're still living. And this reminds me of one of my stories. I don't know if I know what I'm going to tell, but I was in a pub in London one time, and some big old blousy blonde came out and said, ladies and gents, said, I'm going to sing Last Rose of Summer. And away up in the gallery, some drunk stood up and says, the hell you say? And he let fly with an old rifle made up and just squashed her. She said, she just did this. And she said, nevertheless, ladies and gents, I'm now going to sing the Last Rose of Summer. And she did. Great applause. So, that's kind of the way we were back then. That place, as I said one day in Jefferson, they were talking about it, and they were all teasing me about it. And I said, well, sure, but we wouldn't have a library. And I said, it's true that it was a liberty, but I said, it's real sweet smelling now. We have scrubbed it up. Well, anyway, we got along. We were still not having very much love. We were getting books. And the way we got books was by cutting down on everything else. We had a very small set, kind of a unorthodox librarian and a part-time. That was the experience. And when we kept the salaries, we'd have been picked up by the Labor Relations Board long ago, and they know what we paid, which was nothing. But everybody was wanting it so bad, and we all were. And every extent we could spend, we bought books. And all the time we had a definite plan that our book collection was going to mean something. We took lots of periodicals and were very careful to balance them so that if we got something on the ultra-conservative side, we bought something on the little farther to the left. We had, for example, David Lawrence, who I suppose was the most conservative, as editor of U.S. News and World Report. At the same time, we had a Sky with reporter. We were just as far left as you could get without dropping off. But we tried to have both so that particularly students come in to read. They could find both sides of a magazine. I'd be pretty hard put right now, wouldn't I? I know tonight we're interviewing a lot of people in Ozarks. But that's what we did, and we did it with books. We didn't just take one fact as you'd like to do it. We just further, we think what we know. This is something, this is no story, but just amuses me how often you run into this. People will mention somebody and say, oh, she's a brilliant person. She said so-and-so, and that's what I've always thought. Don't you hear that? We're just inclined to think that people who say what we do are smart. I admit I'm that way. So, well, our evaluation in that's what these figures are. I'm on the courthouse today, and I always turn in catalogs. Now I'm not there anymore. I'm talking about our library is here, if I'm still there or not. But a library has to, in the state, has to turn in a statistical report once a year to the state and to the county court. And that's what I always did, and it gives everything. So I went over there late this afternoon and got some figures. I thought maybe you'd be asking me for some, and since you haven't, I'll give them to you anyway. Well, there's the evaluation in 1947, when they first began talking about it, was $13 million. By the time they voted, this one bill passed in 48, it had gone up to 15 million. That is when we started in 1956, it was 15 million. That would mean that our tax income would be about $50,000. And if you know anything about the cost of running a library, you know that isn't going to get you far. Well, by the time then, we had this regional operation for 5 years, where we just brought a few books out and put them in this deposit station. It wasn't a library, it was a deposit station from the community branch. And then the board in 56 decided they were going to withdraw and have a library service there. They thought it would be a better job for the county. And so they did withdraw, and we divided the asset. And by that time, the evaluation was up to $18 million. Now that meant that we'd have about $18,000 revenue. And still, you can't do much with $18,000 in buying books. It's so expensive. You know that school, a little flat book for a child that they can read in 3 or 4 minutes from other countries, it's $5 or $6. You used to buy those quarters in the don't you remember those old? That isn't true anymore, not good books. Well, so we're still struggling along with this $18,000 and trying to pay some people. As I told you, we gave up every luxury. We didn't have any air conditioning. We ran and got cardboard fans from the undertakers, and to give away. And if anybody came in, it was pretty hot. We'd hand them one of those and well, our circulation then was, now I put those figures down because I just knew I wouldn't remember. The circulation in 1956 was 27,500. And now that's the year we withdrew from the region. And it was 27,600. I'm giving you round figures. The next year, when we started our own, it jumped to 74,500. So, of course, that was pretty more, 3 times, wasn't it? That meant that we checked out a book for every man, woman, and child. We checked out 8 books for every man, woman, and child in the county. And that is a big record. There's almost no place in the country that has that kind of record, that many books for so few people. We had 12,412 people in Christian County. That now has gone up to 50,100. And our number per person is no regular. 13,892 with circulation way back there. It's come up now in 1973. Where did I get that figure? I don't know. I'll just skip that one. I don't know what I wrote it down for. So it's 73. But it is going up. Our evaluation is going up, and that's what you're going to have to count on, rather than voting more taxes all the time. You know that evaluation is going up. Land properties are going up. Everything has. And so you'll be getting more money for that. But, as I said, up to this time, our most urgent need was to acquire books. But now we're getting them. And all these different services that I had hoped we could come up with, because we didn't have enough money to buy them, we had to get them other ways. For example, we couldn't hire a professional cataloger. And you can't run a library without a catalog. Your books have to be cataloged and records kept in order to check them out. So I got hold of the librarians of 13 other county libraries in our general area, and I was on the board that just tagged me one that set up this cooperative cataloging service. And we all paid according to our income. And a professional librarian with some clerks who didn't make too much catalog the books. We would order our books, they'd come to the service, and they'd catalog and ship them to us, and we paid the bill. Well, now that took care of a very professional need, a way we could handle, but not that we could have done it on our own. always have been, and still are, so terribly expensive that a little library just can't even consider it, and most schools can't even consider it, small schools. But again, there was a cooperative way for us to use them. They're so, audiovisual is so important in teaching and in library service. So the Missouri Library Film Co-op has a plan where a library can sign up and receive so many films every month. Now, they're the same films that go to Kansas City and St. Louis, Springfield, all over the state. There's no variety in quality, but variety in number. One package has 14 films. I believe it's going up now, 16 since I'm gone. But those come to you, and you use them and go on. The charts are made up in the headquarters, and they're just the best. They're informative things. Some of the classics, they're just wonderful. I see some of them repeated sometimes on TV. But we could afford that. We had to figure to afford that. But I hope that as soon as you can, you would add that, because it just lends so much to your programs. They can come in and check them out. You don't check them out to individuals. They're just too expensive. But you do check them out to any church or school or club, any civic organization, any organization can borrow them and use them and return them. You can get 14 in one package. The big places take 2 or 3 packages. And they're 16 millimeter sound films. We were able to join this. Then we had a federal grant that enabled counties in southwest Missouri to establish what we call the Ozarks Pioneer Regional Service. Now, this is a bibliographic center. It's just been changed now, but it was still in existence when I quit last month. But in that, libraries that want any material can telephone in, get it, an answer immediately, or on reference link. And if they want to borrow a book, they could give it this, and it'll come down from there. Now, Springfield Library belonged to that, and they established headquarters and gave without cost rent in the basement up there. So we didn't pay any rent, but the federal grant paid the salaries of the professional people who were doing this work. So we belonged to that. Then as our collection grew, and we got pretty far up the ladder, we got lots of good material this time, because in this regional thing, we got several $1,000s for books. And with those, we bought the finest reference material that can be had, things we couldn't even have dreamed of having. Great books of the Western world, 450 artists, and all the good encyclopedia. So we added those with this money that came as a part of this federal grant. Well, now we're up here with good material, so we get a little elegant, and we set up another co-op, and we contract for shortwave radio service to the headquarters in Springfield and to all of the member libraries. There were 14 of them. Some of them were just units with 3 or 4 counties. That meant that you could punch a button in our library, immediately be in touch with the Springfield headquarters and say, we have a customer who wants to know what date evil Camille Joe. Yours, and then make it. All right, they immediately, they completed that. It did not have to go back. It might take a few minutes. It did not have to go back something farther back. And you'd get it. If you didn't, they would get it, and they'd call it back like that. When you give it to your customer, half the time to wait. Another thing was, you want to borrow a book, you ask for a book. Maybe we don't have it. Maybe we do have it in our copies now. So we punch the button, and we say, do you have a copy of Gone with the Wind? Even if we can borrow it, yes, we do. We'll put it in the mail immediately, and so they put it in the mail within the hour, and it comes down to us. If you ask for something they don't have, then they punch a general button, and they ask all the other libraries if they have a copy of that. If you do, send it to Christian Town Library. We're in on it from the others, and we send our we have this reciprocal borrowing plan, which is just marvelous. You just don't have to wait for a book. Somebody has it, you know, all there. Well, this radio thing's been pretty expensive and not as satisfactory as we want it to be. It's pretty technical, you know, but still it does give us a lot of tone, doesn't it? Make us sound And we just impress people, and new people who come in, and we tell them, oh, we don't have it, but wait a minute, we'll find out, just punch that radio. And they are impressed, and I really, but I wish it did work better. Well, now, all this time we know we just got to have people. And so we get our petition, and we find out that for $150,000 we can build a nice library, buy the land, furnish it, and get a federal grant for half of it. We can pay the $75,000, and all it costs us is 3/10 of 1 mil on the dollar. We can retire that in 20 years. Now, I'll tell you the truth, that just sounds so easy and simple to me. I'm from St. Louis, where I've just finished writing a publicity for a $60 million smoke abatement program. I didn't do anything. It seemed possible to me that anybody would vote against that. We needed it, and so I didn't do much. And it just got looking so sound, and then it wasn't fun. Well, I was really chagrined, but I didn't know the board, and I don't know what they thought was going to take that way, no. But we waited a year, and we tried again, and this time we really went out. You all know Howard Garrison, who had a Riverside. He's a board member and a very ardent. And I said, we just got to do something. And we asked, well, I thought we were the leading people from all parts of the county. And they came, and I know that we went to the polls a few days later, and it would be not like the first time, but it didn't pass. It takes 2/3 majority, which is stupid. You know, it shouldn't be. It just should be a plain majority, but it does pass, and we didn't get it. Then I guess we just got plain discouraged. I mean, a kind of desperation, I guess you'd say, or exasperation. I wrote a stupid little story, you know, about the condition we had. We just got into a bad shape. Did you read that about the skunks in the library landscape? Well, people laughed about it, and up in Jefferson City they called me, that's what we were coming through. But I really think that, I think it was kind of, people responded to it, and I think they were pretty much ashamed. I have said that Hill people have a fierce pride that most of them would rather go hungry than accept charity. I believe that's true. I know we used to take things to people who were having a rough time, and my mother said, "Now be very careful, don't let in the neighbors know that you're carrying in milk or whatever, because it would hurt their pride." So everybody was there. We didn't rush out and hand people things. We slipped it to them. We'd say, "We just have so much milk." Mother said it'd be so good for her if you could just help her get rid of some of it. Nobody was giving people things and treating them like charity patients. So I said, that's what's the matter. People down here are not going to take government money to do this. They're going to do it themselves. This time ago. Well, anyway, in the meantime, I had written this, and I brought this. I'm going to read a little bit of it, do you care? About skunks. Because I think this got the library. At one, there were two headlines, 2 big-long headlines. One of them says, "Skunks, dead cat, and beets are too much," says the library. And the other one is a big-long head says, "It's a stinking shame." I like it. Well, I didn't know that they would run it. They did, both papers ran it. And that's the lead. Said, "It's a stinking shame our fine collection of library material must be kept in such shocking, inadequate quarters." This comment was made by a library patron who, with the help of a staff member, had found one volume he wanted in a stack of books on the floor, another in a box in the garage, and only one properly shelved in the main library. He never spoke 2 words. Then when he said stinking shame. That very morning, the librarian unlocked the door of the Christian County Library, started to step inside, and fell back gasping for breath. The odor of skunk was almost overcome. Opening windows and starting electric fans helped very little. A search of the premises disclosed a full-grown skunk crouched behind a board, propped over a hole in the south wall of the storage room. This concrete wall had disintegrated to where the animal evidently had shoved through it with little trouble. Everyone who came in the library that morning offered suggestions for getting the skunk out. But no one was brave enough to approach the skunk on the matter. Sheriff Buck Lehman said he could shoot it, but that if he did, the library would have to be closed for several days. And the Ozarks Fire Department members, we just had hope down there, they thought it could be asphyxiated if they could find a volunteer willing to put an exhaust hose alongside. But they said, too, that such a demise would necessitate closing the library for several days. Mrs. Goldie Jones, you won't hear the rest of it, just a little bit, but I'll hear that. A farm wife who lived near Ozarks recommended putting mothballs near. She said that on their farm they found skunks would not go into a building that reeks of mothballs. Put mothballs near it, and maybe he'd leave on his own shoe box. That's fine, the librarian said. But who's going to get close enough to the beast to offer him mothballs? I know I'm not. But Mrs. Jones and Ruth Davis, a staff member, being minister and greater stuff, allowed us out. They would try. What they did was to crouch in the doorway of the storage room and roll the mothballs across the floor in the direction of the skunk. Hastily slammed the door and retreated. The consensus and hope was that the skunk would leave during the night, but he did no such thing. Instead, he died right there. And the problem of removing his remains then became one for the books, with no pun intended there. It was accomplished with the assistance of the city marshal, Charlie Roberts. Within 1 week, long before the airhead came, a neighborhood cat came to the same witching water, ventured head first down a high rain pipe, couldn't turn around in a small space, and wasn't smart enough to back out, so he died. And his presence also was betrayed by a sickening odor, and another evacuation project was necessary. Then I went on with another ecological problem. We gathered up trash within 1 block of the library, and we put it in the window that had a ledge, and this stuff went down next to the window. There was everything in it, beer cans, wrappers for hamburgers and ice cream cones, and a little bit of food left on. But we did this on Saturday and went home for the weekend. The window display attracted a lot of attention. Now that was a hopeful result. We wanted short, and we put all these books, these fine books on ecology up here. They're right above, and down here's all this stuff's right against the glass. But it also, in addition to this attention, it attracted a lot of flies. The wrong kind, the bad kind. You country people know what that is. Some city folks wouldn't. Well, that was an unhappy and unhopeful result. And the situation escalated over the week until it was a bad situation. That I really had to back out from it coming that morning. Monday morning, another exterminating movement was necessary. We got the flies out, the litter was burned, and several cans of air freshener were used to remove the bad smell. Recently, in that article, I said the library window has offered only displays of neatly jacketed and sterile books. The pattern was broken when a few days ago a wag lettered a graffiti on the glass that read, "Against all pollution, we're rebellious, but air pollution is most unsmellous." Some kid wrote that. Well, that came out, and we had another vote. And believe it or not, now this time we were voting to double our tax from 1 mil to 2. So that if you'd been paying $4 tax, you'd pay 2. It passed overwhelming. I don't know what explanation you all would have for that, but it did. I still say that it's the pride of the Ozark Hill people that makes them say, "Get the government out, we'll do it ourselves." Now, the best we could, we didn't have any law on our side, for sure. So we're going to rent property. The county attorney said we could rent property. So that's what we're going to do with this extra money. Now you see, instead of $18,000, we're going to have $36,000. Then we got to looking up some law, and we found that there was a law that you can lease purchase. You can lease it with the provision that you purchase it. And our attorney worked out a plan where in 10 years we could retire that. But now we're into the $200,000 bracket. But we figured that we can buy it, pay it off in 10 years, and that will not only pay for the building, but it will also pay for the furniture. So that was the contract the board signed. I was scared to death because I've always read these things about how one boy can't commit another, and you heard that. Any longer? I thought I read it, but no, I guess not. It must have gone all right. We're a little easy on law. I know. Did any of you read that book by Will Collier about on Saturday nights in Ozarks in the 80s and how everybody come in and had a good time, a little too much to drink and get some noise, and he said that the losers simply just wouldn't protest, and they were just having a good time, but said they were sure hard put to come up with different alibis for all these law-breaking people. And then I loved the story that my father told, that they liked to play poker so well. Some of the men did, and the women objected so, but they would meet up in the livery stable. They had living quarters up there, and they meet there and play poker. And the wives got so mad, and they just said they were going to do something about it. If the sheriff didn't, they were going to raid it. So one night they just got on him, and he started out to, he went over, he couldn't play it above him. And he got to the ladder and went up, and he just stumbled over all the crates and food bales and made all the noise hostages could, but he couldn't hold it off anymore when he started. And he went 1 or 2 steps up and he said, he called him, he says, "Look out, boys, the laws are coming." So we kind of take an easy view sometimes if we think the law isn't going to hurt anybody. And I guess that's what we did on this. But it turned out all right. So if you should want to investigate it, see your county attorney, and I'm sure that you'll be saved. Then a lease purchase contract. You pay so much, but that will apply towards your purchase. Well, don't know. That's the ballot for the doubling the tax. Very simple, yes and no. Again, Howard Garrison helped us. He gave, as we moved, we built this up on a high hill right across from the park, across from the Finney River. And Howard gave us 2 lots. It was a very expensive development. And the board bought 2 more, so we had 4. And it was his plan to give us all the strip. He had told me just 2 days before he died that he had already ordered his attorney to make a deed for the rest of that to the library. But he died very suddenly, and it wasn't done. And he had a dream of a cultural center up there with one great big building where a music teacher and an art teacher and a crafts teacher and a photographer will all be in one. And he had the plan so well developed. I just hadn't had the heart to go into it any more since his death. I mean, not much. But I think surely there'll be people who will, because it'll be such a wonderful thing to go on with that. Because we'll have that library paid off. It has, I think, 7 more payments now. I told you about our periodical room. We didn't know how attractive that is. It's a big room, lovely furniture, and at least 150 periodicals there, so you can go in and out. After, we don't check out the current one. We check out anything back of the current one. And you can go in there and read. We have tried to document, I don't know about the historical thing. I think I maybe talked just a minute. I've talked longer than I should have. But I think that in this historical room, I might tell you some of our problems. It's, as I say, I think it all fits together along with your material that you're gathering. One of the gifts, that's a funny story, I think. We had, in the Ford Times magazine, and you had to get that little magazine, it was a lovely little thing, comes free, and we've always taken it. And I noticed in that baptizing in the Ozarks, a picture of a baptism. And of course that, well, I've seen all mine, I've mentioned many of you have. So I wrote the editor and asked if we, well this time we're writing the county history, if we could get a reprint right and use it in history. And he wrote back and said that's all he had. He didn't buy the picture. But he sent the name of his artist. And she was a woman in Kansas City, and she had, I wrote her, she said she loved us music, that she was born down in Spokane on Bull Creek. And her grandfather was a minister, and this is the way she remembered. So, magazine this woman walked in, and she had 9 members of the family with her. And had this picture, big oil painted frame, and she said she wanted to give it to me. So of course we were very happy to have it and hung it. Later that week, still in the same dinner celebration, an elderly man walked in, and he looked at me, I said, like you are there, and he walked in and he said, "Sis, are you the one that said my brother was the Baptist preacher?" And he looked at this picture right at me, and I said, "Now, you're speaking of this senior, this elderly." He said, "Yes, I am." I said, "Did you say he was the Baptist preacher?" And I said, "Well, yes, I did." Wasn't he? He said, "No, he wasn't," and he turned over in his grave if he knows you said he was. Said he was a Campbellite. Well, I don't even know about Campbellites, but anyway, it's a kind of a term that they used about people. I happen to be one, so I can say this. Alexander Campbell started a Christian church, and they were thinking of called Campbellites, which is all like me, but some people didn't want it. And he was really incensed. We talked on a while, we were a friend here, and finally, I said, "Now, haven't we established that your brother's been dead about 34 years? He said, "That's right, 34 years. I said, "Now, honestly, don't you suppose where he is, he's found out it didn't make too much difference whether he was a Baptist or a Campbellite?" He said, "I don't know about that, sis." Said, "Them Baptists down on Gold Creek give him a mighty hard Well, now all I'm going to do here is show you a few things that, now I think in the county histories, are you writing on, or have you written on a county history? If you haven't, get on with it, because the material will be gone before you can swing around. Not that ours is in any great shape. It's a hodgepodge of trivia, I'll admit it, because everybody's doing it. We're so busy. What we did to get this was to set up a committee. We have 7 school districts, and I tried to find out somebody in each district who might gather material and maybe would know something about documenting. I didn't have too much luck. But anyway, they all tried, and then they'd bring it to me. I would get maybe a flap off of my envelope and say, "A man named Smith settled down in Oldfield about 1850. Well, you can't very well write a biography of that man, can you? And that's what we had to work with. But we kept on, and we did document as much as we could. We did have people tried hard. I insisted that we have the book bound well by up in Jefferson City, the von Hoffman Press that does the state blue books. The board the Centennial Board wanted to do a paperback book for sell for $1, and I said, "You have to get you another girl. I just won't work that hard." I knew they'd all be gone when the wastebags getting here. So von Hoffman said they would do them for $2 a piece, and I talked the board into doing 2,000. That was $4,000. I said, "I'll underwrite the sale of those 2,000 at $3 a piece, and that will give you $2,000 profit. That would be the only profit the committee could make. Everything else was expense." Well, every one of them sold. We haven't reprinted it, and you can't buy one anyplace now for less than $12, $15, and you can only buy it then from someone who is willing to sell it. As I say, it's not any Pulitzer Prize winner, and it's not any great historical shades. But we tried to flavor it with some of the stuff that gave life to our area. It was a Missouri State of Missouri Historical Society did give it a very big boost. And right after they did that, we got orders from every big university, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, every state university in the country ordered it. So it's everywhere now. Our little stories about the Ozarks. We had awfully good pictures. And I hope, now there, for example, is the old livery stable in 1910. You see all the buggies around. And this says, see all those horses and buggies are there. And then there is the remodel thing. It's still not interesting. But right across from it is something of great historical significance, I think. Mrs. Kentling, Aunt Katie Kentling, down in Spokane. Highlandville she lives. She came with her husband from Germany when Emperor Maximilian brought an expedition to Mexico. Her husband was the band leader, and she came with him. And somewhere in some race that they had, he was killed, and she escaped and got up to St. Louis, married some German merchant up there, and came down and started. she was the most interesting woman. And she had led she's still correspondent with this Empress Carlotta, who was supposed to be offered a doctor, and Katie said she wasn't. Now here's another, this Mr. Nelson, probate judge, look at his hair, come clear down over. He told me he had never taken a bath in his life. He said he'd never been submerged in water. He wasn't north walking close to it either, but anyway, he ran for probate judge. Well, he was an awful nice old man. We called him Uncle Bob. And he walked over Christian County to run for probate judge and got elected. And he was almost illegible. His writing was illegible. Illiterate is the word I'm seeking. More he said, I went up there one day. Father had the bank and all the kids, when we come home from school in summer, we work, and I was helping with some abstract. And he said, you run up and ask Uncle Bob to give you the probate record on this land. I went up there and I said, now, Bob, you're going to have to read this to me. I cannot read it. It was just like this. And he just shut his eyes and says, sis, I write it. I let the other fellow worry about reading it. It took a lawsuit to get that estate the title cleared. Well, anyway, there are all kinds of things like that. Another thing that I think, now I think things like this are, can you see this picture of ball team? I paid attention because my father was the pitcher. And he pitched and was said to have used a curved ball before they had ever used one in organized pitching. They were so good, this team was, that they just beat everything in the country. And finally, the St. Louis professional ball team wrote or called or something and asked if they could have an exhibition game with it. And they had it, and Ozarks beat it. And the St. Louis team was so chagrined over that they gave their uniform to the Ozark men. I still have one of those old gray uniforms that belonged to the St. Louis men. Well, now that wouldn't be any great shakes to most people, but that's important to our little neighborhood. There are a lot of people who knew in my time, I don't think anybody kind of didn't know my father and didn't know his fine picture. But maybe that doesn't have any lasting significance, but I think it does. Do you think so? For the history room, I do. I think these little things add color and life. Now, another thing that you all may not be out here, and that is that Judge Vanderventure, who was in the Court of Appeals in Springfield, worked a long, long time on a manuscript for the Gallnuts. And he came to me long ago and wanted me to try to edit it for him. But it read so much like a dream that I told him it'd have to be a chattier word than he could make it. But anyway, he went ahead and finally recopied it. I never did edit the thing because he died. He said he'd bring him down one day, and he did go down and went and had a new boat and started carrying his wife and dropped dead. So with a heart attack. But that's his. Now, I asked the family to let me make some copies for the State Historical Society and for the Christian County Library and for Green County. I think Green County one. And Paul White one at 11. That is a valuable thing for the county history. Here's something that is on the wall now. And it's a little thing that they did up at time, a play in 8 acts. And those men, John Hedgepath, J.W. Bruton, nobody knows that thing's in print. They thought they were burned. But in my grandmother Crane's affairs, I was going through the papers, I found it. Sure, not a good play, but then the fact that these very men who were members of the law, I was told that, makes it pretty important. Well, I have the material where with the publicity that we ran in the campaign that might help in planning something. Because we got all of the civic organizations, Chamber of Commerce, Rotarian Club, they all endorsed it. There's some good editorial material in that they wrote where they endorsed it about the meeting. This is a book. Will Collier was a rather prominent engineer, and he grew up in Ozarks. And he wrote this book when he was an old man, in his 70s. Not nearly as old as I am, but an old man. And he about the Ozarks. And he came back, and he's the one that told about the big times on Saturday nights. it's a good thing, but it never was printed. He just had it typed and gave some of his friends. But still, if you want that, you could have it photocopied. I would let you. Any of these things that are not copyrighted, and that isn't. Now, this county history it's copyrighted, and I won't copyright, but I let you copy it if you wanted. And this is not copyrighted. So the material that you can't buy, you must go to other libraries. They'll help you. Up at Springfield, they're really generous with their material. I have so much that I have got from other libraries. And then I really think that isn't a very dramatic ending, but I think I'll put it in because I've talked longer than I should have. But thank you a lot.
For all of this information this evening, and it's really a treasure for us to hear and to think about. We have some other guests this evening. Mrs. Anderson's transportation was in the form of Mr. and Mrs. McCann, I believe it's McCann, from Springfield. And Mr. McCann, would you have a few words you would like to give us this evening concerning?
Well, I'd move her across the county line.
Well, that would be an idea of a hijacker.
You should have been on the other side in Springfield. I was on the library board at the time. She was campaigning, and the whole state watches this woman. Really, it's amazing, and it's a tribute to you that you are probably one of the most prominent and known librarians in this state. But if anybody knows how to, if anybody knows how to finagle things around, she can. So that gets more of her secrets. But you've got a good organization started here.
Gordon, go ahead and tell us. We have some people, I know Gladys particularly is interested in family history and genealogy, and we do have some other members that are. Tell us just a little bit about, it's Mona's family, isn't it?
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about what you've done. And
Oh, well, you mean for the reunion last year?
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well,
and
I
you
can
can
hear
see
me without...
his pictures. He won't brag on himself. He is in the blueprint.
Well, yeah, you need one of those in your family to help.
And we are going to make him an honorary member of our Douglas County Society because we need him. But he made these huge pictures, blow, what do you say, blow up or blown up of all these old family pictures, and they're huge like this. And then you gave all this material to the library when you finished.
Of course, you've got to remember now, my wife, it was a Pierce, but then in turn her mother was a Little. Now the Christian County Panhandle was just solid Littles. They drift on down into Stone County and probably all around in that area. In fact, they told one story at the reunion that there were 2 rabbits that were crossing the country. And they got chased into a hedgerow in the Lincoln Township in Christian County by some varmints. And they couldn't get out, and they were trapped there for day after day. And finally, one of them said, "I'm going to make a run for it." And the other said, "Heck no, let's stay here till we outnumber them." And that's what they did. They had 260 people at this reunion now. They had, of course, they had people, I think they came from Carolina or something, so there's a bunch of them in Georgia and a bunch of them in South Carolina, and then there's some in St. Louis and all around in this area, and then there was some, of course, kind of the Ozarks migration, a lot from Texas, some from Washington, the state of Washington, California. But they had such a large group of them that they now are in the process of publishing a book that's supposed to have been out 6 months ago, but I may get around to it one of these days. But what they did is they took all the, of course, you got to remember the whole town of Clever is related to Little, so they had the whole group was interested in it. They had a lot of people to work. And they took all the old family pictures they could find, and then we blew some of them up to like 18 by 24 inches. We made quite a few of those, and they put those as a display at the reunion around the walls and everything. And they came up really good with a lot of arguments on who was who, But they really had the thing organized, and then they had they rented the Clever Gym, which was no problem either. In fact, just a little side note, since I'm in Douglas County, not in Christian County, they were debating on how to get all these out-of-towners from the Drury Inn down to Clever on Sunday. And somebody said, well, let's take a school bus up. They said, no, you can't do that. I said, what would the board say? Well, the board's all littles anyway. So, as it was, they didn't do it, but they could. But they really had, and it was really an enjoyable town. Enjoyable time, and now they'll have them every 2 years now. But now they gathered a wealth of information in on the history of that area over there, and the young people were really interested in it. Really, just like these little things like Lucille was showing. Everything tends nowadays to pull the young people away from tradition because nobody's supposed to do this old-fashioned, go away, do away with it. And it's usually the promoters and the people that are moving in that want this done away with anyway. But this type of thing, I've been doing a lot of taping. Now, this is a hard thing to do, and I'm just starting with it, and I've really been amazed at the results. I got it at Max Center. I don't know if you all are familiar with Max Center. He's done taping of folk music in this area since the 50s, and the Library of Congress came down 3 years ago and taped his entire collection, and it's in Washington now. And then he gave a collection to the Springfield Library. But he has another set of tapes called A Visit With. Now, the music is fine. I love the Ozarks music, but the visits are much better. And he's been going out with the old-timers. And to sit down and just talk to one, and then when you go home and try and write it down, you lose half of it. You just can't do it the way they do. And the tapes are just fabulous. And we take these tapes, and it takes a lot of work, and sit down and transcribe the whole conversation out in longhand, and then type it up. And then footnote it, and just make a little biographical book of that person. And the stories and the things you'll find out. See, we're in the last of the generation that knew what it was like before electricity, airplanes, cars, and they're all in their 80s and 90s now. Now, the ones in their 70s and 60s know about it, but they didn't really grow up in it. And we should get out and get all this information from these, because they live a completely different life than we live or than our children are going to live. Completely different. In some ways better, but now it's better, but in a lot of ways we've lost a lot too, I think. But I don't know, this taping is kind of, you have to approach it right, But if you can do it, once you get them started, they'll really talk. And so that's one thing. There's one thing for your library that would really be valuable. And there's a lot of these children now. All these kids have these little cassette recorders now, But boy, the information you'll get and the stories you'll get. Oh boy, some really good ones. Some of them you have to watch. Telling later, that's one thing I'd say when you get your library going is of course I'm interested in the history of the Ozarks. I'm just interested in the Ozarks, period. But that's one thing I would sure try to get a lot of local pride and tradition and hang on to it, because I still think it's a good thing. Some people say nowadays. I didn't mean to record myself there. I forgot that thing.